Sir, good afternoon, sir. Myself Shalini.
Hi, good afternoon, Shalini. It's Ashish.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir. Sir, can we start the session after a introduction, short introduction about yourself to the participant?
Sure, of course. You can start.
Okay. So I'll invite Akhilesh to give a brief introduction about our speaker to the participant, please.
Yes, ma'am. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. So we have come to the last part of the webinar on digital transformation of the construction industry. So here I'm welcoming Ashish Batra, sir, who's the senior leader, digital transformation strategy and delivery, who's a flexible and senior business leader with a unique blend of overall 30 plus years of experience in build environment industry and IT services industry, who completed his bachelor's in civil engineering in BITS Pilani and postgraduate in construction management, and who worked as solution manager, transition manager of MoneyGram US and Material Mobile IL and Super Valu US and delivery manager and system analyst, and who did projects in the area of machine learning, blockchain, artificial intelligence, digital transformation, automation, application development management, and outsourcing. And apart from that, business process re-engineering, process improvements, analytics, cloud business, etc. So I'm very proud in welcoming Dr. Sir Ashish Batra on behalf of Sona College of Technology and Department of Civil Engineering. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Akhilesh. Thank you. Just a tech check. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So is it okay to switch on the camera, or we are good because of some internet bandwidth?
Sir, you can switch on the camera, sir.
Okay, maybe I'll switch on initially and then. Okay, yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure, and thank you, Shalini and team of Sona College for inviting me here. It's a great honor, and more than the honor, it's a great pleasure. And the reason for that pleasure is because it's always good to go back to that nostalgic feeling of going to your engineering college days. So I wish I could have had a look at all of you participants, the students of civil engineering department. Yeah, so it was a great pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to share whatever I have. So with this, I'll just share my screen. Please do let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Can you see,
Yes,
please?
sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So today we'll be talking about digitalization in maintenance and operations, or what we call as facility management phase of the entire construction. I am making an assumption that there are certain relevant courses that you guys have gone through. Sorry?
Sir, can you please enlarge the screen, sir? Full mode, full screen mode.
Okay, is it not? Just a sec. Is it okay now?
No, sir.
I have enlarged it fully. Is there a setting required at your end, Shalini?
Sir, you have to right click and you have to set the presenter view off.
Right click and then say the presenter view.
Okay, now this is in the.
Okay, let me see. Now is it better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So now it is we're going to talk about this maintenance and operations, and as we call it, the facility management. I'll just Akhilesh did cover my introduction, but I'll just qualify a bit more because that's a unique journey that I have. So I graduated from BITS Pilani in 1989, did my construction management, and worked in NBCC, that's the National Building Construction Corporation, for over 11 years. did some fantastic projects in around Delhi, in Hyderabad. And one of my key marquee project was IGCIC in Mauritius. So Indian government had gifted a center for Indian culture. That's what it is called, Indira Gandhi Center for Indian Culture to Mauritius. And I was lucky to be posted there. So the key aspect, the key feature of that project was that it was having arches, and not only two-dimensional, but three-dimensional arches. So construction of those three-dimensional arches was really very, very challenging and was a great learning experience, because how to create a formwork so that we could do the casting of a 3D arch was really typical. Then after serving 11 years, I have to share this with all of you. Given the practice of the industry, I felt that I'm not fit for this industry. After 11 years, I had this enlightenment, and then I moved to IT. And when I moved to IT, I started literally from scratch. I learned some great courses, and then spent 12 years in IT working at different levels, starting from system analyst, did some coding, then transition manager in a company, NTT Data. NTT Data is a Japanese conglomerate. It's a humongous company having more than 200 smaller companies in its portfolio. It's a big tree. And then after serving 12 years working for the US entity in India, I relocated to Singapore. And the last 9 years, while working in the IT, I started to work for digital transformation in the AEC sector. So that's where there was a realization that a lot of digital transformation technologies, softwares are coming up in AEC sector. And given my background, I was naturally inclined to move in that direction. Hence, so that's the broadly the overall span of my career, starting 11 years in civil, 12 and 9 in IT, and now back to civil, utilizing my IT skill sets and my domain knowledge. And currently my goal is to basically contribute to the AEC sector in whatever possible way. If I can enable some companies, if I can enable and inspire many of you to move to IT and take up this digital transformation, I'll be very happy. So with that, I'll move forward to the agenda for today. So in order to get a feel of what's happening in the construction industry as far as the operation management is concerned, we'll see from a contextual point, like what's changing. We have to understand why there is a digitalization is happening, what is changing. Then we'll cover the digital footprint in the facility management. Then we'll take a bit of a global glimpse as to what's happening globally in this space. What are other countries doing? There are lots of COT solutions and softwares in this space. We'll just take a sneak peek at that. And then finally, blockchain is one of my favorite subjects. So I thought I will share that with you briefly, give you a kind of a teaser and an introduction to that. With this, I hope I am able to meet your expectations. If anybody has any, you can just drop in a message, and I'll be happy to make an attempt to cover that as well. So what is changing? So this is a very common slide that you would have seen, and maybe the earlier esteemed speakers who have spoken earlier than me, they might have showed you this. And this is a pretty common, which talks about the various cycle, the entire value chain segment of a construction of a structure, starting from whether it is conceptual design, detailed design, analysis, then fabrication, construction logistics, and then it goes to the operation and maintenance. Now this is important. What is important is over here. This is even more important. So the ratio, you have to understand the relative part of this ratios, and don't get bogged down by the number itself. What it means is that if we spend $1 in the building design, in the building assembly or the building construction, we end up spending $20. And when we get into the operations, we spend almost $60. You can see the difference and the ratio, that how much money is spent into the building operations. And the reason is simple. These two phases would take max 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years for any buildings, but that building lives for at least 50 years. So obviously the expense will be more. So that's the logical answer, that why this figure is so high. But then that's where the opportunity lies in digitizing it. That's where the opportunity lies in improving and optimizing the whole of the operations. And that's what we'll be focusing on in a bit. So with this context, as you see what is changing is the concept of smart buildings. You have heard this word. This is the buzzword now. We have been talking about smart cities, smart countries, smart places. So everything is getting smarter. Now, when we say smarter, what does it mean? So there are different ways and means in which you can qualify and define the word smart in terms of in a perspective of our AEC structure. So let's take building management infrastructure. So better management of energy usage and reduce costs. So if I have to manage my energy efficiently, I need certain digital technologies so that I can efficiently manage my energy, consumption of my energy, and hence reduce the cost. If I have to do a smart building to smart grid integration, and that's related to this, so I've taken up this one, to manage energy usage and demand response. So I have saved some energy by use of technology, but I want to feed that energy back. If I am having a surplus energy by use of, let's say, solar panels, I am able to create more energy. I can transfer it back to the grid. That's what we are looking for. That's what it means as smart. Then governance and business strategy, asset management, manage and extend life of all assets in a building or building. So let's take an example of your college. I'm sure there must be so many, structures, buildings, civil engineering block, computer science, admin block, and so on and so forth. And in each, you take any of this building and start counting the number of assets there, the number of doors, the number of windows, the number of air cons, the number of chairs, uh, and the firefighting equipment, the HVAC equipment, the water supply system. The number of assets are incountable. They are humongous. And with the complexity increasing in each building, with the sensors and the IoT devices, it is time that the asset management is managed digitally. It cannot be managed manually. So that's what smart means. That we are managing not manually, but efficiently managing digitally all our assets. Building process integration, property performance management. So this is like for most of the real estate or the big developers. So when they have to create a new space, suppose tomorrow in your college itself, there is a decision that there is a large parcel of land and that you want to build a new hostel block, for example. So how do we do the space management? Now it's no longer a digital, it's no longer a manual process in which you have to draw all those blueprints several times again and again and again. There are a lot of softwares which help you create multiple designs, optimally use all your space in a very short span of time. So that's what smart building is meaning. That's what is changing. So smarter buildings are helping achieve financial, environmental, and operational benefits. What else is changing? When we talk about smart buildings, they are also getting verticalized because the buildings are getting specialized. We have heard about smarter cell towers. So all the cell towers consume lot of energy. So how can we make them more efficient? How can we make a cellular tower more smart so that it reduces the consumption of its energy and the operations are minimized, the maintenance is reduced. Smarter airports, isn't it? Isn't it the buzzword whenever you travel? We are now trying to make all airports smarter in the sense that there is less human interaction. They are kiosks where you can just go and check yourself in. In certain countries, at certain places in India also there is kiosks are there, but certain places they have gone a step ahead. They have in fact for your check-in luggage also there is no human interaction. There are kiosks, large kiosks, or where you go in, scan your boarding pass, and just you put your luggage on the belt, and that's it. It is done. Smarter data centers. One of the biggest structure which has seen the biggest or the exponential rise is the data center. With the digitization, and as you see with the IT, that's what is happening around. The amount of IT that is happening, there are data centers which are coming almost on a monthly basis, and their operations are increasing. So starting from the public cloud to the private cloud, the number of data centers are increasing. This structure therefore demands a specific focus. This structure demands a specific way to maintain because the requirement is different. So the word verticalization means that the maintenance or the buildings are also getting specialized now. So when a structure becomes specialized, it needs a specific way to treat and maintain. Let's talk about smart campuses, smart hospitals. Just imagine in a smart hospital, earlier we talked about asset management. In a particular hospital, in a particular floor, how many assets are there? Can you imagine? The number of instruments that are there for your surgery, the number of instruments to monitor your health, the number of instruments to diagnose your health are huge. How do we manage? In a particular level of a hospital, if there are two ECG machines, how do we optimize them so that if there is a patient who needs an ECG, then that at least you know that where that machine is currently located, so that you can go and fetch that machine in a minute. If you do not even know where that machine is, then it's a humongous task. Either you have more machines or you spend time. And spending time in a hospital can be very, very risky. It can be fatal. It can cost somebody's life. So digitally managing the assets in a smarter hospital is a specific use case. So hence verticalization. Similarly, government buildings, their requirements are different. Similarly, hotels. Now hotels, as you know, especially during the post-COVID situation, they're having a tough time. So all these hotels now have a separate need. They have a specific requirement. How can they check in the person or a guest coming into a hotel without any human interaction or with least interaction or with the least touch points? Does he have to hold the handle of the room and open it and then go inside? Or is there a better way, somewhere like face scanning, and then he is able to enter into his room? So similarly, so many building structures which are getting specialized need a specialized way to treat them. And hence, we are saying the smart buildings are getting verticalized. I will now move a bit faster. So a changing character of facilities. The facilities character is also changing. So now we know that we talk about wellness. Now we know we talk about natural light should be there. There is more collaboration happening in the various buildings. We are having co-working spaces, isn't it? So many companies are offering WeWork, co-work, because all the startup culture is there. So the use of the building is changing. The character of the facilities is changing. There is a personalization. So when you get into some of their, let's say, logistics customers or a warehouses, there is a need to have more personalized kind of a effect. In many of the condos, large private buildings, residential buildings, now there are apps to tell you, and if you want to order something, want to get a chef, want to get a car, want to order some ironing services, all these concierge services, you can get it. Personalization is required. Your lifts are personalized. So the usage of the character and the character of the existing buildings is also changing. What else is changing? The data driven. As you would know, there are robots now. So since I come from Singapore, I will quote and share my experiences there in Singapore. So Singapore is a country which always has a challenge with the workforce because there's a small country. So how do they control and manage and do the marshalling or do the monitoring of people if they're adhering to the COVID norms? So they have put robots in all their, office areas, or there are buildings and in the office premises at the ground floors where there are a lot of eateries and people roam around, have coffee and all. So they have put robots who are just moving around, and they can sense if the person is wearing a mask or not. They can sense that if 2 or 3 or 4 people are standing together close by, and goes and gives them a warning that please get back and follow the norms. It can take this use case still ahead. So there are a lot of data now coming into the buildings because all the buildings are having a lot of sensors and they are generating a lot of data. So the decision making is being driven by the data. So this is what is changing of each of the facilities. What else is changing? In the management of a facility also, the models in which these are being managed and service is also changing. And that's an interesting part. So earlier, this comes from McKinsey and Company. So earlier, every building, every structure, I'm sure if you take an example of your own college, who is maintaining it? Is it being maintained in-house or is it being outtasked? Has it been outsourced to a particular company to maintain the entire and manage the entire building, all the buildings? So from there, it started to outsourcing started to happen of non-core tasks on case-to-case basis. So you might have outsourced the maintenance of all the, let's say, plumbing systems, right? You might have outsourced the maintenance of all the electrical systems. From there, there is a consolidation happening. From there, more standardization is happening where alignment of service levels has been brought into the picture. What it means is that so in any particular given hostel, if somebody complains that oh in a particular floor the toilets are not getting enough water or there is no water supply, so how much time does it take for your partner to come and fix that issue is depending upon the service levels that you fix with them. So you see standardization is happening, this model is coming, then bundle out multiple services in the same RFQ. That a maintenance company would say that I will manage all the maintenance, whether it is electrical, be it plumbing, even if it involves a bit of civil work, I will do it, or mechanical work, I'll do it. And then there are a lot of other total facility management, IFM, which are kind of a one-stop shop, and they propose all these services. So this is changing. The service models are changing. And why they are changing? Because a lot of digitalization is happening. So I'll just take a pause here. If anybody has any questions, we can take it. I just wanted to check if all of us are awake because this is after lunch, the last session of a marathon webinars. And so it makes everybody a bit lazy and, slack a bit. So any questions, please?
See, any questions, participants, up to just. So I think no more questions. Can we continue, sir, please?
Sure. Okay. So let's talk about digital footprint in facility management. So another buzzword that is commonly heard every day nowadays about defining a digital twin. So digital twin essentially means a replica of the physical asset. If you have a building, there is a virtual building asset that is there on your screen, which tells you each and everything that is there about your hostel, about your admin block, or about your own structure wherever you are staying. So digital twin simply means a replica, a digital replica of the physical asset. It's like a photograph. It's like a 3D photograph, which has got all the information as well. Now, this could come from a combination of information coming in from BIM. It could come in from IoT, facility management, or GIS, right? So this is how it is supposed to work. A digital twin evolves. It is not built on a single day. A digital twin evolves starting from the day you start creating or authoring your drawings in any tool. If you start using Revit, for example, and then you start creating a structure drawings and a 3D drawing, from there you start developing the digital twin. To build a digital twin, we need a CDE. A CDE is the common data environment that we have. Now in that, all the information, project information and the asset information is gradually pumped into this model so that this model evolves, and by the time we get into the operational phase, there is a digital twin available to us. Now that's an ideal situation, but normally it doesn't happen. Normally it doesn't happen. Anybody has any question? Okay. So as you see in this picture, and there are a lot of ISO standards which are helping us to reach to a stage where I can get a digital twin. Okay. So in a digital space, this is one big, and I would say one of the biggest vision that has been set and given by the industry is to have a digital twin. How far we have reached there, it is a matter of debate and question. For some structures we may have reached. Have we standardized? No. When do we do that? We have no clue as of now. But one thing we know, that the whole industry, whole academia is moving at a very great speed, at a breakneck speed towards creating a digital twin. And you see all this in manufacturing world, this digital twin exists already. In the space, if tomorrow you have to fix an aircraft, a digital twin is already available for that aircraft. Where it was not available was in the construction sector, and that's where also it is gaining a lot of popularity. It is gaining a lot of attention by all the big businesses and the governments, including. They realize that having a digital twin is one of the biggest, and I think it's a kind of a game-changing invention. Not only invention, it's a game-changing discovery, and it's a game-changing model or a step that should be taken by the AEC industry, because this digital twin can solve so many huge amount of problems that are being plagued in, that our AEC sector is plagued with. So hence going in a digital twin is one of the big thing that is happening currently. And as you would see, this shows, this is an interesting one which shows you how a digital twin would interact. So you see, this is a physical twin. Physical twin means this is your admin block, just to take an example. So it has got various spaces, it has got equipment, systems, sensors, actuators, applications. It interfaces with the digital twin in real time. There is an information interchange happening. Suppose there is a sensor in your hostel. Suppose there is a sensor in your admin block. It is sending, it is pushing or polling information back to the digital twin. And from there it is pulling back. At the same time, digital twin is working with smart facility management systems. There are multiple smart facility management systems with which it can interact and do real-time diagnostics and also do predictive operations. And this is also used for maintenance of this structure. So this is how a digital twin, and this is one of the usage which is pretty simple and obvious. This is just at the surface. If we dive a bit deep, we will realize that the presence of a digital twin can solve so many problems of a structure. And just to give you a little example, right now I'm having some renovations to be done at my home. And it so happened that there was a plumbing put up in my whole bathroom, and then there was a carpenter who came in who wanted to install some kind of a wooden structure. And the moment he drilled a hole, it punctured one of the plumbing pipeline, and there was a water all around. It burst, and we had to fix it after a hard time. And why did that happen? Because there was no picture taken for that. There were some videos taken by the plumbing guy, but the dimensions were missing. So he just took a kind of an assumption that, oh, this must be 6 inches or 5 inches, as in our they don't measure in mm. So in whatever units they measured, he took an assumption and he punctured and he used the drill, and that was not accurate. So in absence, and now you imagine if there was a digital twin, if I had a 3-dimensional picture or even a 2-dimensional picture of what has gone behind the wall, as when we were installing those plumbing stuff, we would have saved this catastrophe. So this is just to give you a glimpse that if you have a digital twin, how easy maintenance can happen. And if I have to extrapolate this use case, what I just shared to you, after 5 years, we will forget where those pipes are. If tomorrow I have to install anything in the bathroom, I don't know. It's a guesswork that I'm taking because there is no digital twin available. Next one. So when we go to an operational stage, these are some of the various functions that are performed. So there are intelligent building systems, energy and environment. There is a project management has to happen. Then we talk about portfolio management. Imagine a college like yours, which has got so many structures, so that we call it as a portfolio of so many buildings. There is a work management, service management. As I was giving you an example, suppose a particular toilet is not getting water supply, then the service request is raised, and that is fulfilled, and there is a process to manage a service. Facility operations, how do you make it neat and clean? How do you ensure that whatever is, if something is not working, it is fixed in time? The operations, the light, space, security, cameras, everything is working. There is a bit of a noise background, so I'll apologize for that. They'll talk about space management and then asset management. Then there is a supply chain. We have to procure so much of material for even for maintenance, isn't it? You just go back to your house and see how much of maintenance efforts that we guys spend. Small things are required, starting from a nail to glasses and anything. So a huge supply chain has to be maintained. And then there are corporate functions. So these are some of the components of an operational stage. And if I have to elaborate what I just mentioned and dive a little bit more deep into what I just spoke about. So portfolio management, you have to manage each building, floor, space, lease or rental. So this is about, let's say, a commercial building. May not be applicable all of this for your own hostel or your academic building. Work management, work initiation. So if I have to get something fixed, if you see the staircase has to be remodeled or the flooring has to be replaced, work initiation happens, work management happens, work reporting and closing. So all these activities happen as part of work management. Asset management, if you see, cabling is there, warranties are there, data center infrastructure. Service management, service desk, service level agreements, billing. Then supply chain, corporate systems, space management, facility operations. We all nowadays talk about intelligent building systems and how do we manage the energy and environment. And of course the project management. So this is how it gets a bit more complex in terms of managing a facility. So you see, it appeared that, oh, maintaining a building or a structure is damn easy. But the moment we want to do it in a very perfectionist way, the moment we want to do it in a right way so that we can optimize. And you remember we said $1 in design, $20 in implementation, $60 in maintenance. This is the work where it goes. All this money goes for years and years. So I hope you're able to appreciate the extent of or the scope of a management or maintenance of a particular structure. With that, I'll give you a bit of a global glimpse. So globally, this is recognized that there is a lot of effort which has to go into the maintenance aspect or the maintenance phase. So what is driving digital facility management? And the biggest thing is the capital budget cuts. And we all know with COVID-19 coming in, it has impacted the economy in many ways, especially some of the key sectors, right? Hospitality. So hospitality sector is suffering a lot when everybody was locked in and nobody could get out of their houses. The hotel industry suffered a big jolt. Customer and occupant experience is now changing. So COVID, in short, is changing or driving the digital facility management. And to give you an analogy, we saw because of the COVID situation, we wanted everything to be coming to our house. The whole supply chain systems, the e-commerce industry flourished because they also coped up with so many orders coming up, whether it is your food delivery or your daily grocery delivery or anything and everything that you needed, your medicines. So that pushed the growth of IoT, artificial intelligence, and connected devices. We may not be experiencing in our homes, but the moment you go to certain commercial buildings, you will experience. The moment you go to hospitals, you will experience that this integration and the changes that are happening. So that is driving digital facility management. In Singapore, as I mentioned, I'll take few examples from the Singapore. So Singapore, there is a organization which is called as Building and Construction Authority. It's a nodal authority by the government of Singapore which drives these changes. So they have issued a BIM guide for asset information delivery. That means what all information should be there for a particular asset before it goes into the maintenance phase. So there are BIM deliverables, there are non-BIM deliverables, operation and maintenance data, documentation, door object with non-geometric information, and similarly other features. So this asset information model is kind of issued or published as a kind of guideline. It's not that everybody has to follow the same thing, but it is published as a guideline to be able to so that the industry can adopt. And one of the so we have been closely working with BCA in Singapore, and one of their biggest challenges is the adoption. They say there are a lot of products, and of course having so many products is a challenge there. But after having so many products and after adopting one product, it takes a lot of time for the people to adopt a new product and understand. Even the industry, the building subcontractors, they are very hesitant. They are not willing to adopt. So they have to be incentivized. So they are using all sorts of tricks or the methodologies in best of the management books to push the whole industry to be able to adopt the digital means. And they have gone further ahead, just to share with you, and so that you can appreciate that at what level the authority is trying to push the adoption in this space. So they have created certain use cases. So type 1 is digitalized workflow automation. Yeah. Thank you. I think somebody's. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So we want to digitize the workflow automation. So we have a remote monitor BCA portal, video monitoring with incident detection. So there is a video monitoring of, let's say, a commercial building. There are all pipes in the basements. So there is a video monitoring if there is a fire, if there is a leakage. Because of the change in the temperature or the scanning, it can trigger certain notifications and sensors. So toilet sensor compactors. The type 2, they issued that existing system, let's optimize. So there is a failure prediction. Okay, there are security kiosks and occupant engagement. I said, remember I told that there is always a challenge of workforce in Singapore. So they are always on this path of automation. How can they reduce the dependency on people? Connected service for chiller optimization. So if tomorrow there is a rain outside, and then the chiller should adjust the temperature on its own, isn't it? It should not be that we have to manually go and fix this. So this is example of a smart FM framework with multiple solutions identified by the Singapore. I'll just take a pause here. If somebody wants to digest this a bit and then have any questions, please take a note. We can cover it now if you have it, or else we can take it at the end. And this is a typical digital solution architecture for a facility management, which we call as at IFMS. So there has to be a workflow manager in the engine of a facility management. There has to be data flow adapters. So a lot of data could be coming from building automation system, building management system, security, cleaning, M&E. Then there are a lot of users who will use this data through a web portal, job tracking, self-service, chatbot, right? There is a mobile app, and there are a lot of FM suppliers. So facility estate managers, they'll have web access. Then there are a lot of systems, ERP systems, financial systems, BIM systems, which have to be integrated into this overall architecture. Hello. Yeah, thank you. So this is a typical functional architecture of a digital solution for facility management. I'll go ahead now. Let's talk about certain cost solution. When I say cost solutions means off the shelf. You would have heard, I am assuming that you heard about SAP. That's one of the great companies from Germany, software company, and they have got solutions for almost each industry. So for construction industry, for the AC sector, they have got softwares for investment and construction, which would include investment planning, property acquisition, construction projects, sales and marketing, lease and space management, maintenance and repair. So in maintenance and repair, if you see, they talk about work orders, master data, budget, payables, cost settlement, energy reporting. So these are some of the functionalities or the functions available by SAP. And SAP is one of the big wiggies of this software world. If you would ask any guy from your computer science, he would know what SAP is. Similarly, Oracle, again a big word in the IT industry. So they also have got software for real estate portfolio management, FMRE cost management, document management and visualization. So if you go to your maintenance department in your college and ask them like, how do you manage? How do you do the procurement? You will see a whole process. You will see tons and tons of paperwork. File work would be immense. Even if they have to procure 20 chairs, there will be huge amount of file work. If they have to procure or get a certain section repaired or start a new block or build a new lab, so much of effort goes in there. These softwares help us to optimize that. It helps us to manage all this documentation and digitize this. So this is what it means, that during the operational phase and maintenance phase, you digitize all the operations, not only just building. Is that the way you maintain has to be optimized, which would involve work order management also. Primavera, I'm sure you would have heard about this. So Primavera was a great company who used to have project management software. It was similar to what Microsoft has MSP, Microsoft Project Management. So Primavera was later acquired by Oracle, and then they have enhanced this product and integrated with document control. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Thank you. And so see, Primavera Unifier is now integrated with facility management also. So Oracle literally refurbished this whole Primavera. It was standing in a silo, standing alone. It brought it into the mainstream solutions and then finally integrated. It does risk management, it does resource management and project visualization also. It's not that all these capabilities are here, but it can interface with them, the other systems. There is a company by the name called Infor. That's one of the great companies who specialize in asset management. As I was mentioning, imagine a hospital, a single floor, the number of instruments that it carries, the number of assets that it carries. Now there are companies, there are softwares which are available, which can manage such a huge inventory of assets and then keep its track where it is, digitizes to the extent that on a click of few buttons, you can find out where is my particular asset. This is continuation of this enterprise asset management. Talks about the benefit this asset management brings, digital asset management brings to to any industry or any organization. You would have heard also about Bexel, operation and maintenance. This is again one of the softwares available in the market. This is owned and developed, I think, in India. And it's a pretty FM facility management software which helps you manage a particular facility during the operation phases. There is another company or a software which we call it as Eviva. So Eviva has got a very, hello. Shall I continue? Shalini, all okay? Okay. So this product by Eviva. So what it does is it has got a facility management. It has got a component which they have called as Lucy. Now this Lucy is becoming very, very intelligent. So it is an integration platform, your smart city, smart building or smart workplaces. Digitize your environment, model it and help you create outcomes of your business or workplace. So if you have multiple buildings, imagine these are all your buildings in your college. They are all connected to a cloud, and all from the cloud you are able to get every information on their Lucy platform in terms of predictive maintenance, energy optimization, workspace management, visitor management. You see, there is a lot of access control, who is visiting which hostel or visiting which building. All these dashboards can be prepared using certain softwares. So a lot of work is going on. The idea of showing you these cards is not to try to sell anything, but to tell you that there are a lot of IT providers, there are software providers who have experienced challenges and they have sensed opportunities, that in the facility management space there is a huge opportunity to create softwares to literally optimize this, because a lot of money goes into there and a lot of inefficiencies goes into there. Such is the importance of the overall facility management phase. Sorry, this noise is getting bigger. I'll just try to get some bit more soundproofing done. Yeah, sorry. So these are some of the dashboards of from Aviva, which talks about corrective work order management. It talks about manage and visualize information from the site in an intuitive user, beneficial way. What are the tasks that can be covered? Here is another interesting solution: telepresence. So you've seen this kind of, so recently I think Mark Zuckerberg launched this kind of a goggles. These are the shades or the specs which any maintenance engineer can wear. So it has got two cameras. It can see what work you are doing. And then from here, from this telepresence, it can connect to a supervisor. Okay. And I'll give you a very other interesting example. Suppose nowadays with the aviation industry getting a biggest hit because of COVID, and there are aircraft which are stranded now. Suppose one of the Rolls-Royce engine of Singapore airline goes bad. How do they fix it? So what they do is the technician goes to the plane, opens up the engine, and then connects with an engineer sitting in Germany, connects with the supervisor sitting in Germany for remote place, and the supervisor sitting back in Germany is able to see each and every part through the camera installed on the glasses of the field technician, and he can annotate. That's the interesting part. He can annotate, he can do a video call, and he can do first level of safety check or immediate diagnosis of the failure or whatever problem that it has. So what has that done? This product itself has saved millions of dollars which were spent otherwise in travel, and you'd be surprised to know. So if a Rolls-Royce engine goes bad in any part of the world, the engineers from Rolls-Royce companies will fly to that place to go and fix it. So they saved humongous amount of money using this telepresence and similar products in which could help you connect and talk to you virtually over a video call or a voice call and share pictures and annotations at runtime. Ecodemus is another company from US. They have built a very interesting and a robust software which is able to integrate all the data through BIM, whether it is your ERP systems, okay, whether it is your building BIM model, space management, maintenance management. It is even able to now integrate with drone information coming from the drones, geographical information systems, PM, and building automation system. Again, as I mentioned, and I'll reiterate, the idea of sharing all these softwares is that the bulk of work that is happening across the world, and there are specialized softwares which help you. Let me see if I'm able to play this video. Sorry. So these are the two. Just a sec. Are you able to see my screen, please?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
It seems to have hung a bit. I'll just restart this. Just give me a moment, please. I'll just share my stuff once again.
Yes, sir, please.
Just a second. Yeah. Are you guys able to see the screen now?
Yeah, yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Okay. So actually there was a small videos which got stuck, and these videos are from Ecodamas. I'll in interest of the time, I won't play it right now, and if there is a time, I'll come back and play this. So you see, this is a image of from that software, and we can, if I go to any particular in the video, it shows that suppose it goes to this whole pumping system installed by like Siemens, and give you all the information like what is the date on it was on which it was purchased, when is the next maintenance due, the specifications of this, and you get a 3D view as you see over here in those drawings. So such softwares are now available to give you this availability and visibility and insight into the maintenance part. And finally, coming to blockchain, which I mentioned is one of my favorite topic in terms of the technology. So blockchain, what is blockchain? As you would know that in AEC industry, humongous amount of money is lost in litigations. There are cases of every almost 70% of the subcontractors are having legal cases with their owners. Why? Because I have completed 7,000 cubic meters of concrete, but the billing says it's only 6,000. So there is a conflict. There is a conflict in terms of the payments. There's a conflict in terms of the CRs. CRs means the change request. Somebody would say that, oh, in this building, this is how the drawing was changed. I had quoted for a particular set of quantity of work, and you changed the whole quantity by almost 30%. So I am losing, but there is nothing, nowhere it is proven. When you measure certain data or measure the work done, there is no storage of the data. There is no authentic proof, and hence there is always a fight. So blockchain is an excellent technology which creates immutable records. Immutable records means the records which cannot be tampered with. And once it cannot be tampered with, that means it is a single source of truth. And if it is a single source of truth, that means it ensures transparency. Then there is no conflict. If a subcontractor say I have completed 4,000 square meter of external cladding, and it is certified or measured by the field engineer, and it is put on a blockchain, nobody can fudge this data. After 2 months, even if any of the parties want to make that 4,000 into 4,500, they cannot do it because the data is immutable. So there is a transparency, and then there is an accountability. See, there are a lot of lab tests that are being done for a particular construction project. A lot of cube testing is done to check the testing of check the strength of the concrete. There are other tests done for each material. So there is an accountability if we are able to store all this test data in a space which cannot be tampered with. And when that happens, it builds trust. And I think in the AEC industry, that is one of the biggest challenge, that people do not trust the contractors do not trust their own subcontractors. The owners and the developers do not trust their own contractors. So with so much going on, blockchain becomes or brings in a fresh air. And why do we need blockchain? Some more examples, because there are multiple contractors. There are contractors for the same work. We might have engaged a contractor for a flooring, but he would go bankrupt and he would run away, for example. Then a new contractor comes in. How much of work was done earlier? Whether that work was of good quality or not. So all these conflicts, because of multiple contractors, there is always a challenge. Then there are multiple institutions. If you have to construct one house, you can't believe how many multiple institutions you have to work with. And then there are multiple workers. There are government agencies as part of institutions to give you approvals, whether it is a water department, MCD, electrical department. If it's a commercial building, it has to go to the energy ministry to give clearance, or a forest ministry to give you clearance, the transport ministry to give a clearance. So many institutions are there, and everybody needs a single source of truth. So blockchain provides a single source of truth. It provides a shared ledger which is immutable, as I was mentioning. And if it is immutable, suppose you get a completion certificate of a building, then it is there for everybody. It is secured at a place and where everybody can see it, everybody can download it, but cannot tamper it. So that's one of the great use cases of blockchain for AEC industry. And with that, I come to the end of my presentation. We have a lot of time, and I am expecting a lot of questions. And as I mentioned that this is the last session of your 4-day marathon series of webinars. You all must be tired, and I didn't want to take too much of your time. So hopefully it is of use to you. The floor is open. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Thank you, sir. Participants, do you have any queries?
Good afternoon, sir. This is Dr. Malati from Sona College, Head of the Department Civil Engineering, sir. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and giving a wonderful presentation. And actually, out of 5 days, last day, your presentation is the total, the digital transformation you are adopting in your Singapore. The same thing you shared with us. We came to know about how all these tools and softwares also like Oracle, SAP, how it can be used for digitization in construction industry. My question is, sir, suppose if we want to equip our students towards this digital practically, what we can give them as a skill, or like some modules from second year till final year, how we can equip them to face that digital industry, sir?
Okay. Thank you, Malti. That's a very thoughtful and interesting question. So, in my view, and you see, and I'm talking from my own experience because I shifted from civil engineering to IT. So, what I think and what I know from experience, that many of the civil engineering students think that, oh, they cannot get into IT. So, if at all you're looking for some modules in your second year, I think
Sir, your voice is muted. Your mic is muted, I think.
Oh, I'm
we are
sorry.
not
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So you can hear me now, right? So I'll just repeat what I was saying. I said that's a very interesting and thoughtful question that you've asked. And since going by my own experience of having served in civil engineering for 10 years and then moving to IT, I think if at all I have to give some suggestion or recommendation, it would be that in your second year students, you should start exposing them to certain basics of IT courses and introduce certain softwares which are used in the various phases of the construction. For example, authoring a model. If I have to create a 3D model of a simple building, how do I do it? So I think that exposure should start very early in your academics, because that's the direction in which it is going. And if you have that ability, some people, some of the students may be interested in project management solutions. You should expose them to project management solutions. Some students may be wanting to go to solutions related to solar energy analysis or light analysis. So there are softwares which tell you how to do a light analysis when you are crafting or designing a building, in which direction you should move. They can do a the analysis of the lighting depending upon the latitude and longitude of that particular area. They know the direction of the sun, right? So the exposure to softwares, a module should be included in your second year, both the semesters, I would say, which should include exposure to all these softwares. And then I think that'll be a great thing. And once you give that exposure, many, I'm sure, many of your students would become more confident in terms of adopting to the digital technologies, and all these things will not be something new to them. Yeah, that's what I think so. I think I got one question. How the BIM and blockchain connected through IT? Yeah, that's again a great question. So, BIM is a building information model. Now, this BIM is created, a model is being created using a software. That software could be Revit from Autodesk. That software could be, there are at least 25 other softwares available in the market for authoring. So you have a software, and then there is a blockchain. So blockchain, as I mentioned, is a system. So once you create a final drawing or an as-built drawing, okay, which we call it as a blueprint in our physical terms, once you create a as-built drawing which has been reviewed by everybody, this drawing or this model can be uploaded into the blockchain system. Once it is uploaded into the blockchain system, nobody can change it. What it means is that this drawing or this model can then be used by any of the stakeholders, by your fabricators, by your suppliers, your project managers at site, to start planning and computing the quantities. Suppose I have to procure quantities of my formwork or the wood or the door frames, I can use that drawing. So that's how they are connected through IT. These are all digital systems. These are all hosted on servers. So they are all connected. So blockchain, how blockchain work? There's a similar question. So as I was mentioning, blockchain, you can think of, nowadays there was a concept initiated by the government of India for a digital wallet. Like you can store your Aadhaar card, or you can store your license details or your vehicle details on a cloud, isn't it? There's a digital wallet assigned to everybody, I guess, in India. I have not used it, but there is an app, I think from Vahan, on which which shows your vehicle number registered against you. So a blockchain is something similar. On a cloud, the information is uploaded. Once the information is uploaded on the cloud, then it is safe and secure over there. So that's what blockchain means. Any other question, please?
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from participants? Participants, you can unmute your mic and you can ask the questions.
அங்கேயும் வருதான் பாருங்க.
I think I explained it very well, or is it all clear?
So it's all clear, sir. You have explained very well, sir, really.
Yeah, so I come with a industry experience, and I'm not an academician. Okay, I'm not a professor, so I will be talking more practical things, how they can be implemented, and how we can do the digitization. So have you heard about, just to give an example, heard about robotic process automation, RPAs? So RPA is a new technology which helps you automate any of your repetitive tasks. Okay. So for example, invoice creation, you see so many vouchers you are handling on a day-to-day basis at a given site. You go to any construction site, there'll be so much of paperwork. So all that paperwork can be digitized, isn't it? There are 2 or 3 people who are sitting every day collecting all those vouchers, handwritten vouchers, scribbled vouchers, or paperwork. All that can be digitized so that it can be creating some insightful information from there. So just an example of the technologies that are coming nowadays for the use of in the facility management and that space. In fact, they can be used in the entire life cycle wherever we want to do it. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you please share your experience, some other experience also, sir? Some other civil experience in IT.
Sir, as a head
Yeah.
of the department, I have a request to you. Is it possible to be a mentor regarding this digitization in construction industry? We need some expert for giving us some advice how we can go ahead so that we can create a future generation in digital construction, sir.
Sure. Malti ma'am, I'll be happy to engage with you if you have some plans, and I'll be happy to mentor the younger generation, and that will be a matter of extreme satisfaction for me if I am of use to anybody, and if I can help channelize their careers in any possible way. So it will be my honor and pleasure. So we can have an offline discussion on that. But I would like to answer Shalini's question, and
Okay.
I'll share one experience. So there are softwares now available for doing a clash detection. What it means is that if a drawing is made of a structure, then there is a lot of review done based on the code. So in India we have our own ISO codes, right, which tells us that if there is a cantilever balcony, it should not be more than this width outside the wall of the building, and the wall of the building should be at least 20 meters away from the edge center of the road. Similarly, right? And the so imagine a building in which the structure is made, and then that building is given to a HVAC consultant who draws all the pipelines. So imagine he draws a pipeline which is going and hitting a beam. So how do you identify? Do you wait till that situation comes at the site, or you can identify upfront? So with those softwares, and I'm trying to give you an example that how civil engineering and IT are linked. When a 3D model is available, we can do a clash detection. It detects whether the pipe that is going through, is it hitting a beam or not? And if I can find that out in my design stage, I can avoid that error or rework and a hold of my work that would happen 3 months down the line at a project site. And when that happens, there are certain things, again, from an IT perspective. So for example, there is a code which says that when there is a manhole, which is an external manhole of the building, the connection of that external manhole to the pipe should be at a certain slope. Now, if in a 3D model, how do you compute the slope? Because if I have to check whether the pipe, drawing has been done at a given slope or not, how do I identify it? So there are algorithms, there are ways, and you really apply all your trigonometry and the geometry that we guys have learned in our school and in college you must be doing, and your engineering drawings to compute the slope. I have to compute the height because levels are given. So that computation is done by each of these softwares to find out whether the slope of the drainage pipe is as per the code or not. And they are always up to date with the latest code. So you see, if code says that the slope of that drainage pipe should be, let's say, 15 degrees, then it has to retain that information and then compare it after computing the slope from the given model. And then it gives you know whether this is right or not. Otherwise, this was a human work, isn't it? Somebody would scrutinize each and every and they would miss. But when it is done by a computer, when it is done by the IT software, then it is not missed. So this is one of the interesting projects that we are currently doing in Singapore of detecting or doing the clash detection by using precision geometry and high level kind of algorithms, and which requires a lot of IT skill sets to be able to draw out such systems and compute all this information from a given model. I hope that gives you a bit of insight into what all is going on with the IT and civil engineering. Yeah, that's what I'd wanted to share.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Shalini?
Sir, thank you for your explanation. Ma'am, thank you for your explanation, sir.
Actually, we are fortunate to have you here, sir, and really we were searching for a right person to guide us and support us regarding this total transformation of civil industry into IT industry. We feel honored and blessed that we have got your contact through Professor Shalini and Dr. Pran. Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, we will keep in touch with you, and we will try to utilize your experience for our students. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you for listening, and thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir. We will have a long association with Sona College in future, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.